Hey, today is the big day. Our interactive live Q&A session is happening at 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to claim your seat using the registration link down below. And also don't forget, if you want to learn Japanese soft gel application step by step for your gel manicure, gel structured overlays, or your freeform extensions, and how to attract your ideal clientele using these services and products, and how to master efficient e-filing technique before you apply these products and after when you go ahead and remove them as a soft gel nail specialist, then you'll want to also check that description box below to sign up to the waitlist for our group coaching program, MGN PRO. The program starts January 22nd. Whether or not you are a nail tech now, we all sort of start daydreaming about a career in nails. I vividly remember wanting to do nails, like maybe in some, huge home that I would one day own and have like my nail area somewhere back there by some river or what. I don't know what I was thinking, but this is like real. Like water, I just saw water and just being in nature, and I don't know. That is no longer my ideal doing nails scenario. Sure enough, when I went into nails, that's definitely not what I went into, because obviously there are some rules and regulation. You cannot just have like this private big home and then, have maybe a business running out of it. You can in some areas, but anyways, not where I was living. But slowly but surely, I realized that, hey, you know what? I'm going to go in becoming independent, like as I was starting to finish nail school, because I was like, there aren't really good opportunities, and not that there aren't good opportunities now. Today, what I want to do is kind of lay the expectations of what you can expect to deal with or go through as an independent nail tech. We will consider whether or not you should go commission-based or employee-based, okay? So let's dive in. And if you are new here, welcome. I am Paola of paolaponcenails.com, your coach to help you thrive as a soft gel nail specialist. If you're feeling all in at the end of this video, then do consider subscribing. Generally, going into business does not require too much as a nail tech. You will have to ensure that the place you work is zoned for your business. There's typically an establishment or business license requirement, and of course, you need to be professionally licensed. And of course, some form of business insurance is highly recommended. However, for more information on what you need exactly, because this isn't what this video is going to be about, I would recommend you go in the order of what is needed in your county, then town or city, then state, and then the federal government. You'll ensure all of your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed by going at it from this hierarchy. So if you are considering becoming a nail tech, here are some things to consider. Expectation number 1, will you work for yourself or independently? Most newbie nail techs will be offered a commission-based opportunity at a salon, but for years and years, there have been issues with the structure. Usually, a business does this so that they can always have someone available for walk-ins, and so you have to do some research and find out if the salon you're interested in is in that high of a demand for you to earn a living wage each day as a commissioned stylist. Also, keep in mind that if that is the case, most often than not, you're not going to get a regular clientele coming in, okay? So you'll be working with different people, different personalities, like every single day. Or you can go independently as your own boss. I understand this is frightening for so many new nail techs, and believe me, I understand. I went solo with just one client, and I talk about this more in my free masterclass. You can watch that in the description box below also. And yes, things were slow, very slow the first few months, but I have good news for you. Remember that coaching program I mentioned earlier in today's video, MGN PRO? Well, using some of those exact strategies in that program, I have now helped students get booked out within 6 months of going solo. And I can't even contain my excitement for them. I've learned so much about what really works in getting booked relatively quickly while doing nails in the salon, and also now as an educator. And I will have an interview available next month on this channel about one of my star students who achieved great success just within 5 months of nail school. Stay tuned and make sure you're subscribed with notifications to the channel on if you don't want to miss this interview. And I don't think you do. I truly believe going solo makes sense for 98% of nail techs graduating nail school. And that is why I created the MGN PRO coaching program, because all you really need is a little guidance, and I love to be that guy. Now you may be wondering, well, what if that's a bit much commitment for me? It can be. I don't know your specific life situations, but let's just say maybe you have children, right? Or maybe the household relies on you to having an income and you cannot rely on like taking out debt and things like that. Totally understand, right? By the way, I don't believe in taking out debt either. If you can have a side hustle to supplement what you need for both your home and the same thing, your nail products, and obviously that's beneficial. That's kind of what I recommend. And I recommend, like, if you have responsibilities, to just, you know, quit your job and go at this. Can it work? Highly probable, yes, but there's still responsibilities, and I will never say that to you, that you need to quit your job and start doing this program or anything, you know, like another nail program. Now, there may be jobs out there as a nail tech that pay you like an hourly and maybe some commission structure on top of that, and that's very good. Again, if you have responsibilities of which you cannot, you know, relieve yourself of from, like children, that makes a lot of sense. So that's why I say like 98% of the nail techs that graduate nail school qualify for going independent. But if you have some responsibilities and you can find a good job doing this, then yes, okay. But you have to get some numbers down and making sure that you indeed are going to be paid regularly for your work. Expectation number 2, what will be your specialty and main products? I talk about this so much. That's why it's so important for me, and it's number 2. When I finished nail school, I was not coached to specialize, not at all. And that is why I offered it all, and I was a master at nothing within the first year of doing nails. The idea of not listing a nail service of which I was taught in nail school was not even a thought. In fact, for me, it was sort of like, hey, if I paid money to learn it, then I have to offer it. And that is not the case then, like when you're in nail school, or even when you take other classes, because I also did hard gel and I also did acrylic. And so I thought like, well, I have to keep those, you know, I've spent some money on them. And in fact, that's not the case. Sometimes you're going to have to take nail education, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment, because you want to single out that one thing that you know for sure you want to do, right? Whether that's in regards to the services you want to offer and the products you want to use to offer those services. So education is going to help you really hone in. So maybe if you took a program and you just never even use that product line again, it happens to me like a few times actually, or I didn't offer those services, that's a good thing. You paid money to stop wasting time and more money on those products and services that actually don't even light you up, and you're just offering them for 1 client, 2 clients, or because you think that you're going to have all these clients coming in the door asking for the services. So just keep that in mind. When you pay for education, not only are you paying to get better in a particular area of what you're doing and level up to some degree, right? But you're also paying to eliminate what you really don't actually care for. And thank God for this class, because now I know that, right? So you're paying to save that time and money in the long run. Expectation number 3, what light source will you use? So now let's get into our desk area and talk about like things that you may actually physically need. And this one is a funny one, because actually when I started doing nails, I was renting a space somewhere and the salon was closed, but because I was a renter, I have, you know, legal access to my stuff. So I was gonna go there when it was not open for them, right, with a client. And then I realized that I was like super new. I realized that I didn't have my lamp with me, or I didn't really consider a lamp like a table lamp. And I know you're probably like, what? But I guess because in nail school we always work with bright lights, and you know, even like the salon had really bright lights. They might have even had like a key light. Like for me being young and dumb, I thought that was enough. And that is not the case, okay? It's not enough. And so I was kind of embarrassed because I should have known that. Are you going to use one that, by the way, has a base on it like this? So that's going to take some space. Or are you going to use one that clamps to your nail table? And so you're going to need some space on the side of your table to make sure that your nail lamp can clamp on there. Expectation number 4, how will you ventilate? This is very important. I don't want you to go renting anywhere or even work anywhere where there is no windows. Like, please do not grab a nail suite that doesn't have a window, and you're not always going to want that door open anyway, so don't think that the door is sufficient. So make sure you have a window. Make sure that you have a way that you can create a draft if you need to like really air out your room for some reason, right? Or, you know, you just want that fresh air, you're gonna want that. And then also maybe you can have an exhaust fan. Maybe the place has an exhaust fan. So just keep an area, or keep in mind that your area should have a window or an exhaust fan somehow to ventilate, okay? Expectation number 5, hopefully I don't lose count here, but how will you deal with dust? When I started doing nails, I was like, oh, come on over the house, friends and family. I was doing acrylic at that time. I'm gonna do your acrylic nails, right? Well, we just talked about ventilation, and I don't want to be doing those in the kitchen, right? Because it's just gonna linger for a little bit. But the dust, what about the dust? I was doing it in my living room, so that was fine. But the same thing, you have dust everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're a natural nail tech, a gel nail tech, an acrylic nail tech, there will be dust, a lot of dust, okay? So the acrylic is just going to fall faster because it's a little heavier. The gel dust actually may come into the surface here of your breathing zone faster because it's much lighter, so it doesn't have the weight of gravity pushing it down, right? How are you going to deal with the dust? Now, I did have a table that had a dust collector unit, and for me, I like the Valentino, and they have just upgraded the Valentino Beauty Pure system, and they have just upgraded, so it's a little bigger. You're gonna have to consider the table that you're going to use, okay? So this is another thing here. The table, do you want it to be like super high end, like, you know, I don't know, you're gonna pay a lot of money for it? I don't recommend that. You don't necessarily need it. What I did with mine, and I know I've been asked about my old table, was it was just an IKEA table, and I got a handyman, lovely, nice handyman, who actually on his own, like I told him what I wanted, and he went to go source the marble top and cut out, because his friends were in the business. I know, I was lucky. And they cut out the space. I had to tell them exactly the measurements for that dust collecting system. And it's really awesome to just have your dust collecting system on the table without you having to pull a dust collector on and off. It's not a big deal, but it is so easy, especially when you're working with glitters and stuff. And that stuff also just flies really, really fast into the air because it's light. You can turn on your dust collector system, which is already there. And I mean, it just worked wonderful for me, especially because I was doing a lot of chrome pigments. Expectation number 6, what hours will you work? Do you expect to work like a full-time job? Do you expect to work part-time? Like, this is very important because I didn't have any expectations of how much I wanted to work or how much I was going to work. And in the beginning, you're going to take, more clients than, ideally you would probably want to work. And I do recommend that just so you start meeting your ideal clients, right? And you do have to keep in mind that if you ultimately don't want to work weekends, like ultimately, okay, I would not recommend that you open yourself up for weekends immediately all the time, because then you're going to accustom your customers to book you on the weekends. And then 3 months from now, you're going to be like, oh, actually, I don't do weekends. Well, that's going to come off very almost irresponsible, because it's like, if you knew you wanted to take weekends off, then why would you book a total of 20 clients, right, over the course of a month to come in on the weekends if you were going to eventually tell them like, oops, no. And this is a big mistake. Actually, I wish I would have taken note of this a long time ago, okay? So also, if you don't want to work evenings or you don't have the evenings available for work, again, having your boundaries of what hours you will work. So think about it. If you're going to book yourself, let's just say conservatively, even for a gel manicure, 2 hours with a customer. And this is to, you're a newbie, right? And this is to get comfortable transitioning from one client to the other, right? So how many clients do you actually need to see in a week to feel yourself booked, right? And feel yourself like you're actually making income out of this. So I'm going to say that in the beginning, if you're going to take 2 hours with each client, you're at least going to need to make some income, right? At least 3 clients. And you're going to take a little bit extra, okay? Even if it's just a gel manicure. And then remember, if you're doing extensions, I would definitely book like 3 hours in the beginning. So let's just say 3 clients per day. You decided you're going to do 2 or 3 hours depending on the service, right? And okay, so you need at least, and then you're going to work 5 days a week. So that's 15 clients per week times 4, right? For 4 weeks. So that's 60 clients per month that you're going to have to acquire, and that's going to be a big question in a moment, okay? So that's a big number right now. It's kind of scary, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get 60 clients in the door? But what I want you to focus on is the time that you want to work, okay? So if you took 3 clients at 2 hours, you're going to be working about 6 hours a day. So that's like on the minimum, I would say, right? You can say, well, as a newbie, I'm only going to take 2 clients, right? Well, again, that's more like 4 hours that you're going to be at work. Now, I'm a workaholic and I'm kind of crazy when it comes to working. And I would actually book myself back to back, like scary, like in the beginning. And I just had the mental strength to do it at that time. It's not sustainable. It's not something that you want to keep doing for like many years to come. But I did. I would book myself like crazy. And this is beneficial to anyone that feels like mentally strong and even physically to do this kind of work, because what that coaches you to do is to get really fast at your work and to keep a schedule within 90 minutes, within 90 minutes, within 90 minutes. Because if you do take 3 hours for one client, guess what? You're coaching yourself to work at 3-hour appointments. Whereas if you coach yourself to work at 90-hour appointments with the right systems in place, that's why we have the Master Gel Nails course to help you with the Japanese soft gel application. So you get it like step by step, like memory built into it, right? Like muscle memory. That's why we do that, okay? But as soon as you start feeling like, you know what, I got my steps down. Like I'm starting to be able to do this, like turning on the car and driving, right? I don't have to really think about it. So once you get there, then start booking yourself a little bit shorter time, and that way you can coach yourself to work a little faster. Expectation number 7, you will need to stock up on disposables, okay? So start looking at where are you going to get your files, your buffers. Are you going to be using the face mask, which I recommend for dust? Up to you if you want to do like disposable cuticle pushers. Where are you going to get gloves? You have to wear gloves when you're doing nails, I think in general, especially gel nails. So gloves, if you're going to use your table napkins, I have my Amazon store linked with my essentials, like the dental bibs that I use, the lint-free towelettes, and all of that. So do check out that Amazon link if you want to know some of my disposable go-tos. You also need alcohol, acetone solution, those solutions that need to be replenished often. Next step, will you be using advanced method of manicuring? Advanced methods of manicuring means that there will be no water manicuring, and also you will be doing e-filing. Those are advanced, like we no longer, I guess the popular method was to do water, right? Water manicures, but that's not what we're doing anymore, especially when you're trying to apply really any product. Even nail polish should not be with wet manicured hands or nails. And if you do need to consider training for this. I don't care how you feel, I'm sorry, but you cannot go on and just grab an e-file and think that you are going to practice on yourself once and twice and then use it on a client, a paying client, okay? Like if you want to use it on yourself for a while now before you get it, watch some YouTube videos, that's up to you if you have the time to hunt and peck for the information yourself, or you can always take an online course. That's the difference between free and paid. You're trading time for dollars when you're hunting and pecking for the information, and then you have to put it all together yourself and make sense of it. So if that's what you have time and energy for, then that's fine. But if you want quick processes, step by step, how to get through A through C of what you are wanting to do, then obviously I do recommend online courses, and not just mine. I mean that for like any other niche that you are involved in, okay? So you don't need an e-file right off the bat. I don't think I had an e-file right off the bat. And actually clients don't hate you for not having an e-file. They are actually pretty curious, and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten my nails, without an e-file with my gels for a very long time. And I do recommend that you master your applications not using an e-file machine, because what if your machine malfunctions in the middle of a service? It has happened to me. What if the power goes out and you don't have a rechargeable one? Then you will have to know how to do the procedure of prepping the nails and even removing the nails without an e-file. So an e-file is great, but what about those times when you don't have one? You still have to be meticulous. Expectation number 9, expect to turn down clients. Remember I said earlier that no one coached me not to do this, not to offer that. And I thought that if I paid for them and I had to offer it, right? Well, that is not the case. And actually be okay with having someone inquire about your business. Maybe you work in a salon or a suite where you get some foot traffic, right? And they see you working on nails, and then they come and inquire and be like, do you have time for a regular manicure? And in your head, you're like, oh, I can kind of do a regular manicure. I do have a few colors. Like, yeah, right? I think I used to do this sometimes, or here's a better scenario. So it's up to you if you want to do that. Probably not, because you want to educate people on your niche, because then she's going to want to always come in for that one service that you snuck in, right? No. So here's the more likely scenario. What can happen is that your customer who is doing a certain service for even years, right? Like I just had someone inquire with me about this. So if like you're offering gel polish, and this happened to me too. If you're offering gel polish services like C&D, Gelish, OPI, like those kind of brands, and then you're like, you know what, I want to upgrade my services to structured overlays, right? And I want to do that with Japanese soft gel, right? And then you're like, how am I gonna like tell my clients, right? Am I gonna have issues? Like, am I gonna lose some? Listen, if that structured gel manicure is also coming with a price increase and you're growing and it's coming at a place of growth and happiness for you, do not worry about telling that customer like, hey, you know what, starting such and such date, this is going to be happening. This is going to benefit you. It's similar to what you already do starting this date with these products and services. And as long as you're very clear and then you explain to your client to some degree, right, that this is a growth for your business. If they're like, well, you know what, I just want my nails polished with gel polish, you gotta decide if that's okay with you, in the sense of like, do I want to keep this client? Does this client respect my growth, what I do? Do I really love this client? And it's like, I know they don't need that much more work on their nails and what they get is perfect for them. Then what you can do in that scenario is just keep that one client, but make sure that it's coming out of an area of not disrespect. Like she doesn't respect your growth, what you're learning, the education that you're paying for. And that is, you're really like, you know what, she really doesn't need this upgraded service. Like 90% of my clients do, and that's the clientele that I want to focus on, continue cultivating. Then keep that client, but you no longer are taking new clients on that service. Okay, that's like the slick way to do it and be fair to everyone here. All right, so expectation number 10, how often would you budget for education? This one is a biggie. Okay, when I got out of nail school, I thought that was it, right? For a little while, I thought like, that's it. Nail school's done. Like, where do we go from here? Just keep practicing on clients, right? And no, so many of you watch my free content here, and I am so thankful that you do. Believe me, I am. But here's the thing, and I want to talk to those who are taking this a little bit more serious, becoming like a professional, upgrading to their own nail suite. Let me tell you, you are causing a lot of slow growth in your business, right? And you're tucking yourself in this little corner, in this little cave, if you do have like a little nail suite, and you're just piecing the process together for yourself. And you're not getting advice, you're not getting, you're not learning from others, you're not venting to some degree and getting some really good feedback, recommendation, step-by-step processes to how to get that. Some problems are easier to solve than others. You're not the first one to go through those problems. And even though I'm not a nail tech with you there in the salon, like I'm a coach, I've had so much more experience in the salon. I've gone through all of it already in salon work as an independent nail stylist. If you just think that you're going to get by with all the free stuff and just the superficial level, then I hate to break it to you, but that's where most likely your career is going to stay. At the superficial level, not having problem making the big decisions in your business. Should I raise my prices? How often should I raise my prices? Should I offer that service? Should I no longer offer that service? Like, these are questions that can be easily answered, easily solved within a coaching program, okay? And also by following the community that is in these courses also, so that you can grow together. Trust me, growth together is needed. And even I, with what I do now, I yearn for like having that communication with other fellow nail techs within this content creation space, because I want to know what's working for them. I want to share what's working for me, what big mistake they can be avoiding. And so that's why we also have a virtual nail tech or a little bit more of an advanced coaching program to help you with content creation if that's where you want to go. Okay, so back to my point about like being a newbie and taking education. When I started doing nails, I thought that like it was done and over with once I went through school, right? And no, I think that you should create a budget for your education. I understand education is not cheap. It shouldn't be, right? If it's good education, why would you want it for cheap? Why would you like want to like not appreciate it? Hey, I got it for free, But if you pay attention, okay? And I truly believe in that. That is why a lot of the stuff we do, I would say like 80% of the things we do is free. YouTube, downloadable resources and things like that, it's been free for like 4 years, okay? And there is like at least like 20% or a little less maybe of the programs that we host, they're not free, okay? And that's because you have to get into focus. You have to put some skin in the game. When you pay attention. You have to come out of your bubble. You need to ask questions. You have to experiment. You're gonna grow. Okay, you're gonna grow when you come out of this little shell. So I would say maybe at least 2 classes per year. Budget for that. What would you do? Include also travel time. That's why we kind of love our online education. You don't have to budget for travel, for lodging, and all of that. So what would you budget for that? I would say expect for a good class, including transportation and lodging, to budget about $900, okay, for that. And you want to do those like twice per year, at least for the first 2 years of your nail career. Okay, so it's not something that you're always going to want to do, right? At some point, you kind of learned it all, and you might do some fun nail art classes. So yeah, if you can't get to a physical class, welcome. We'll take you on board. We do have e-learning. We are only an e-learning business. Okay. Expectation number 11, how will you book your clients? Are you going to be using pen and paper, which I did in the beginning, like totally fine. And I still did, by the way, even though I had an online booking software, I still translated that online to my physical so that I can just write notes or look at my appointment book real quick without having to like log in or have the page open or bring my computer if I forgot it. Okay, so I would put it on my planner, and I love planners. Okay, we have some things for you there also coming. So there are a couple that I used to, actually just one that I always mention, Square, and in a couple months, actually starting next month, you'll hear me mention Yodel. Okay, this is another booking software that I was looking into and became interested by the perks that can actually be very beneficial for the beautician, not just the customer, because most of the times it benefits the customer, right? Like they get to get online and book, but what about you, right? You're also paying for transaction fees and things like that. So look forward to that. So for now, just know that you will most probably need an online booking software. Expectation number 12, how will you get more clients? Yep. Just when you got your first one and you got to celebrate, now you got to maintain and keep that client, right? How will you maintain them? Well, number one, you give them not only an awesome set of nails, but a set of nails that last. That's the number one reason why a client will stay with you, because your nails lasted that first appointment that you did them. Okay, they'll keep coming back. So that's your number one goal. So how will you get more clients? Well, obviously we have social media, which is like the modern day portfolio. I do recommend that you have a designated Instagram. We've already mentioned that in a previous video, I think yesterday's video actually. So make sure that you know what it takes to continue attracting a loyal, raving return clientele, the best clientele, the one that you actually want to work with, the one that gets you up in the morning. Okay, otherwise I hope you enjoyed at least 12, maybe 13 expectations today about whether or not you should go pro, and really give it some thought. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section. I can answer it there, like what would you need, or guide you in the right paths. All right, bye for now. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video valuable, would you do me a favor and give it a thumbs up so that I may help more people? Do check out the description box below for any current resources and promo codes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.